Jacob, alone in the dark, suddenly seized by an unseen hand. All night they wrestle, he refused to let go. His body aches, his strength fades, but with tears in his eyes he cries the words that echo through the ages, "I will never let you go unless you bless me." And when the sun finally rises, his name, his destiny, and his life are forever changed. Before we reveal this epic story of Jacob, please support us by subscribing to the channel. We create these inspiring stories every week to bring hope and faith to your life, and your subscription truly helps us reach more people who need to hear these stories. How can a perfect God use deeply imperfect people to carry out his perfect plan? Our journey begins in Genesis 25 verse 21, where we meet a couple standing in the shadow of unfulfilled promise. Isaac prayed earnestly to the Lord for his wife, Rebekah, because she was barren. In ancient times, barrenness was not only a source of deep grief but was often seen as a mark of shame, a curse that whispered failure into the soul of a woman. Rebekah carried that burden for 20 long years. 20 years of waiting. 20 years of hearing the promise God made to Abraham, that through his seed, a great nation would come, and yet watching the years pass without a single cry of a child in their tent. Imagine the nights they lay awake, their hearts heavy with the silence of unanswered prayers. But then the silence broke. God answered Isaac's prayer. Rebekah conceived. What joy! What relief! Surely now the promise was unfolding. But God's answers don't always come wrapped in ease, and this blessing carried its own mystery. Genesis 25 verse 22 tells us, "The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, 'Why is this happening to me?' So she went to inquire of the Lord." This wasn't ordinary movement in the womb, it was a wrestling match before birth. The struggle inside her was so intense, she sought the only one who could explain it. The Lord's answer was both profound and unsettling. "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." Genesis 25 verse 23. In a single sentence, God overturned the natural order. In their culture, the firstborn son was destined to lead, inherit, and hold the greater blessing. But before they were even born, God declared that the younger would surpass the older. It was a prophecy that would shape not only their lives but the fate of nations. When the time came for Rebekah to give birth, the scene was dramatic. Genesis 25 verse 25 describes the firstborn, red and covered with hair. They named him Esau. A rugged appearance that seemed to foretell the rugged man he would become. Wild, impulsive, driven by instinct. But right behind him came his brother, grasping Esau's heel. They named him Jacob, meaning heel grabber or supplanter. It was a name that carried a shadow of struggle and ambition, a hint of someone who would always be reaching, always striving. Isaac was 60 years old when his twin sons were born. From the very start, the differences between them could not be missed. Esau became a skilled hunter, a man of the open country, comfortable under the wide skies and in the wild fields. Jacob, on the other hand, preferred the quiet of the tents, perhaps more observant, more calculating. And then came the quiet fracture within their family. Isaac loved Esau because he brought him the taste of fresh game. Rebekah loved Jacob. Parental favoritism is like a slow-burning fire. It doesn't explode all at once, but it can consume a home over time. The prophecy God had spoken was already beginning to take shape, hidden in the details of everyday life. The older and younger were growing in two different worlds, two different ways of seeing life. Esau thrived on impulse, Jacob thrived on strategy. One chased the moment, the other planned for the future. And though neither knew it yet, their paths were moving toward a collision, one that would change the course of their lives forever. You see, prophecy is not just about the end result. It's about the steps God uses to bring it to pass. And sometimes those steps are messy, complicated, and human. God's promise was alive in that household, but so was human weakness. As the boys grew, their differences became more pronounced. The sun hung low over the hills, and the air shimmered with heat. Esau had been in the fields all day, tracking game under the relentless blaze. By the time he returned, his skin was streaked with sweat and dust, his body aching with exhaustion. Every step felt heavier than the last. As he neared the tents, a rich, savory smell drifted toward him. Lentil stew. The scent was thick in the air, curling around his senses, making his empty stomach twist with longing. Inside the camp, Jacob sat by the fire, stirring the pot slowly, each movement unhurried. His eyes lifted as Esau stumbled closer. "I'm starving," Esau groaned, his voice ragged. "Quick, let me have some of that red stew." Jacob's gaze didn't waver. In that moment, the stew wasn't just food, it was opportunity. "First," Jacob said softly, "sell me your birthright." Esau blinked, almost too tired to process the words. The birthright was no small thing. It was the inheritance of the firstborn. Double the portion of wealth, the leadership of the family, and the spiritual blessing that carried the covenant God had made with Abraham and Isaac. But hunger has a way of shrinking the future into the size of the present moment. "I'm about to die," Esau said, exaggeration dripping from every word. "What good is a birthright to me?" Jacob didn't rush. "Swear to me first." Esau swore an oath, sealing the exchange. Jacob handed him the bread and the stew. Esau ate, drank, wiped his mouth, and walked away. Genesis 25 verse 34 says simply, Esau despised his birthright. Despised. Not just gave it away, but treated it as worthless. In the heavenly record, that decision was a fracture, a rejection of something sacred for the sake of something temporary. From that day on, the balance in the household shifted. Jacob had gained the legal right to the inheritance, but the blessing of the fathers still remained to be given. That blessing was more than words. It was a prophetic declaration that would determine the spiritual head of the family. And Jacob was not about to leave that to chance. Years passed. Isaac grew old, and his eyesight failed until the world was only a blur. One day he called Esau. "My son," he said, "I am now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Go hunt some wild game for me, prepare the kind of meal I love, and then I will give you my blessing before I die." Rebekah overheard. The prophecy from years ago still burned in her memory. The older will serve the younger. She knew this was the moment, and she would not let it slip away. She ran to Jacob. Her voice was urgent, almost trembling. "Listen carefully. I overheard your father speaking to your brother. Do exactly as I tell you. Go to the flock, bring me 2 choice young goats, so I can prepare a meal your father loves. You will take it to him, and he will give you his blessing before he dies." Jacob hesitated. "But Esau is a hairy man, and I have smooth skin. What if father touches me? I would bring a curse on myself, not a blessing." Rebekah's eyes narrowed with determination. "Let the curse fall on me, my son. Just do what I say." The plan was set in motion. The goats were prepared, the aroma filling the tent. Rebekah dressed Jacob in Esau's best clothes, the scent of the fields clinging to the fabric. She covered his hands and the smooth part of his neck with goat skins. Every detail was crafted to deceive. Jacob stepped into his father's tent, his heart pounding. "My father," he said. "Yes, who is it, my son?" Isaac's voice was weak, suspicious. "I am Esau, your firstborn," Jacob replied, forcing the words out. "I have done as you told me. Please sit up and eat of my game, so that you may bless me." Isaac frowned. "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" "The Lord your God gave me success," Jacob said. The lie was smooth, but the weight of it pressed against his chest. "Come near," Isaac said, "so I can touch you." Jacob held his breath as his father's hands brushed the goat skins on his arms. "The voice is the voice of Jacob," Isaac muttered, "but the hands are the hands of Esau." After one last out, Isaac ate the meal, drank the wine, and then spoke the blessing. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness, an abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and peoples bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed. It was done. The blessing of Abraham had passed to Jacob. Jacob left quickly, the echoes of his father's words still in the air. Moments later, Esau entered, his voice cheerful, until Isaac's face changed, and the truth came crashing down. Isaac trembled violently. Who was it, then, that hunted game and brought it to me? I blessed him, and indeed he will be blessed. Esau cried out, his voice breaking. Bless me too, my father. But the blessing was gone. In that moment, Esau's bitterness turned to rage. He swore in his heart that when their father died, Jacob would follow him to the grave. And so, the stage was set. Jacob, the heel-grabber, had outmaneuvered his brother and secured both birthright and blessing. But his victory would drive him far from home, into years of exile, and into the very hands of God. Night had fallen when Rebekah came to Jacob with urgency in her voice. Your brother is consoling himself with the thought of killing you, she whispered. You must leave. Go to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay there until Esau's anger cools. The word struck Jacob like cold water. Moments ago, he had the blessing of a patriarch. Now, he was a fugitive. He packed quickly, the tent shadows swallowing him as he slipped away into the darkness. The home he had known, the comfort of his mother's presence, left behind in an instant. The road to Haran was long and silent. Each step carried him farther from the tents of his father and deeper into uncertainty. By the time the sun began to fade on the first day, his legs were aching, his throat dry. He stopped at a lonely place with nothing but the open sky overhead. He gathered a stone, placed it under his head, and lay down to sleep. The night air was cool, the stars blazing above him like watchful eyes. Exhaustion pulled him under, but sleep would not be ordinary that night. In the darkness, the scene before him shifted. He saw a ladder reaching from the earth to the heavens, with angels ascending and descending. Their movement was fluid, like a living river of light. At the very top stood the Lord himself. I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac, the voice declared, deep and resonant. The land on which you lie I will give to you and your descendants. Your offspring will be like the dust of the earth. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. The words wrapped around Jacob. Jacob awoke with a start, his body trembling. The place was no longer just a patch of earth. It was charged with holiness. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it, he whispered. Fear and awe gripped him. How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. He took the stone he had used as a pillow, set it upright as a pillar, and poured oil on top of it. He called the place Bethel, House of God. There he made a vow. If God will be with me, watch over me, give me food to eat and clothes to wear, and bring me back safely to my father's house, then the Lord will be my God, and of all you give me I will give you 1/10. With the dawn, Jacob rose and continued his journey, no longer just a fugitive, but a man carrying a promise. The path to Haran stretched before Jacob like a test of endurance. Bethel had been a holy encounter, but the road ahead was still uncertain. Days later, as he approached the outskirts of the land, he saw a well in the open field. Around it lay 3 flocks of sheep, their shepherds waiting. Jacob asked about the people of the land. Do you know Laban, son of Nahor? He said. Yes, they replied, and here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep. Jacob looked up, and in that instant, the weariness of his journey seemed to fade. Rachel approached with the grace of someone accustomed to the open fields, her face framed by the sunlit air. Something in Jacob's heart stirred. Without hesitation, he rolled the heavy stone from the mouth of the well and watered her flock. When he told her who he was, that he was Rebekah's son, Rachel ran to tell her father. Laban welcomed Jacob warmly, embracing him as kin. For a month, Jacob worked among Laban's flocks without pay. Then Laban asked, "What should your wages be?" Jacob's answer was simple but full of longing. "I will work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter Rachel." Laban agreed. 7 years might have felt like a lifetime to most men, but to Jacob, they passed like days because of his love for her. At last, the wedding day arrived. The feast was joyful, the night full of celebration. But in the darkness of the bridal tent, Laban's deception unfolded. In the morning light, Jacob found not Rachel, but her older sister Leah. Shock turned to outrage. "What is this you have done to me?" Jacob demanded. "I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me?" Laban's voice was calm, almost casual. "It is not our custom to give the younger before the firstborn. Finish this bridal week, and we will give you Rachel also, if you work for me another 7 years." The deceiver had been deceived. The one who had grasped his brother's heel now knew what it felt like to be outmaneuvered. Yet Jacob agreed. He married Rachel a week later, but the years of service stretched ahead. The days that followed were not peaceful. Leah longed for her husband's affection, while Rachel struggled with barrenness. The household became a place of rivalry and pain, but also the birthplace of a growing family, sons who would become the tribes of Israel. Through it all, God's hand was shaping Jacob. The man who once relied on cunning was learning endurance. The one who had manipulated for blessing was now being refined through hardship. In Laban's fields, under the scorching sun and the biting cold, Jacob was being prepared for a greater calling. And though he could not yet see it, the God who met him at Bethel had not left him. Every day, every trial, was leading him toward a moment when he would once again stand face to face with destiny. The years with Laban had changed Jacob. He was a man with wives, children, wealth, and scars earned through hard work and harder lessons. Yet one shadow still stretched over his life: Esau. Word had come that Esau was approaching with 400 men. The number alone felt like a death sentence. Memories flooded back. Esau's roar of rage, the murderous vow, the moment Jacob fled his home. Now, there was no fleeing, only facing. Jacob divided his people into 2 camps, thinking, if Esau attacks one camp, the other can escape. He sent ahead gifts: goats, sheep, camels, cattle, donkeys, wave after wave of offerings to soften his brother's heart. Each group carried the same message: they belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and he is coming behind us. Night fell. The camp was quiet, save for the rustle of tents and the distant bleating of livestock. Jacob sent his wives, his children, and all he owned across the ford of the Jabbok River. And then, he was alone. The air was heavy, as if the darkness itself was holding its breath. Suddenly, a figure emerged, silent, solid, unyielding. Without a word, the man seized Jacob. Instinct took over. Jacob grappled, muscles straining, heart pounding. The 2 men locked in a struggle that was more than flesh against flesh. It was will against will, spirit against spirit. Hours passed. Dust clung to Jacob's skin, sweat stung his eyes. Every twist, every shift of weight was met with equal force. This was no ordinary man. Jacob could feel it. The presence was different, divine. The horizon began to pale. Dawn was near. The man spoke, his voice calm yet commanding, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." Jacob's grip tightened. "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man's next words cut deep. "What is your name?" "Jacob," he gasped. The man nodded slowly. "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome."
Israel.
No longer heel grabber, no longer defined by cunning and deceit. This was a new identity, a name born from struggle and surrender. The man touched Jacob's hip, and in an instant, pain shot through him. His joint wrenched, his leg gave way. Yet even in agony, Jacob refused to release his hold. He clung with everything he had, not to win the fight, but to hold on to the one who could bless him. The blessing was given. The man vanished into the morning light, leaving Jacob limping on the bank of the Jabbok. The sun rose over him, its light catching the dust on his skin, its warmth falling on a man who had been forever changed. When Jacob looked up, he saw Esau approaching. His heart pounded, not with fear this time, but with the memory of God's promise. He went ahead of his family, bowing 7 times as he neared his brother. Esau ran to meet him. He embraced him, threw his arms around his neck, and kissed him. The 2 brothers wept. Years of hatred dissolved in that moment, replaced by something only God could have brought about. Jacob knew then what the night at the river had truly been about. It wasn't just about securing a blessing, it was about transformation. God had not been wrestling to destroy him, but to break him in the best way. To strip away the self-reliance, the fear, the manipulation, and leave behind a man who walked, limped, in the blessing of God's presence. From that day, Jacob walked differently in more ways than one. His limp was a reminder of the night he met God face to face. His name, Israel, was a testament to the grace that changes destinies. And his heart carried the truth he had learned in the dust and the dark. You don't win by overpowering God, you win by holding on until he changes you. Friend, Jacob's story is not just history, it's a mirror. We all wrestle in one way or another. We fight to control, to prove ourselves, to survive. But the real victory comes when we cling to God through the struggle, refusing to let go until his work in us is complete. If you are in a season of wrestling, don't walk away. Hold on. Even if it leaves you limping, that limp might just be the mark of your blessing. The sunrise is coming, and with it, the new name God has been waiting to give you.